Welcome back, guys. Welcome to the show. It's Danny Elliott, and here with a Lincoln MKZ going 35 miles per hour on Interstate 95 South. You know, that's just normal, everyday stuff, right? Boomer's gonna boom. But I wanted to talk to you today about taxes. You know, a lot of people are getting these notifications that it's time to file. It's time to get ready to pay your government because it's their money, right, guys? Because you got to pay your taxes. You know, mom and dad taught you. You know, that's how you do it in America. You work hard and pay your taxes, right? That's what life's all about. Life's about going to your 9-to-5 job in the rat race and paying your taxes. 1 out of 3 Americans in 6 of the top major cities in the United States are about to be evicted because they can't pay for their housing. Groceries, the things we need in life, the stuff in life. And stuff is really what the economy is, right? If you don't have relationships, if you don't have community, if you don't have anything, you could at least have stuff. Stuff makes Americans happy. But Americans can't buy any stuff right now. That's becoming a problem. So, I want to take you back in time. Irwin Schiff, Peter Schiff's father, back in 1998, 1999, long time ago, was talking about how the slaves had it pretty good in the United States because they only paid about a 10% tax. But the U.S. government was able to convince the American people that paying a 50% tax was a much more fair and just system. Isn't that amazing when you think about it? A couple of years ago, I went on a trip to Charleston, South Carolina, and I visited a place called the Magnolia Plantation and Botanical Gardens. Beautiful place. I was listening to the tour guide talk about it, and she said, you know, like once it was over, the slaves were free to leave the plantation, but none of them left. They all said they wanted to stay and they wanted to remain there and live out their lives right there. And that really struck me when I heard that, because I said, this doesn't seem right. This seems like some, you know, this is some King Cotton, you know, propaganda, Southern spinning BS, right? This is something that probably was taught south of the Mason-Dixon line, but, you know, would never see the light of day where I grew up in New England. But now, after a couple of years have gone by, and, you know, I've been thinking about the way life in America has changed since all of the, you know, the crisis and the lockdowns and just, you know, shutting down the economy completely and everything else that unfolded in the last 5 years. I started thinking, I said, you know, they did have it better back then. Because why? Right? What did I talk about in the Boomer video? I'll put it up on the screen at the end. I don't think too many people watched it. But, like, what are all the things that are missing that the Boomers had in the 1950s when they grew up? They had community. They had family. They had, you know, mutual respect for one another. They had, you know, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. Like, there wasn't this, like, you have to qualify, you have to, you know, you have to get a college degree, you have to go to work, you have to, you know, you have to, bachelor's required, master's preferred, then you have to meet our quota requirements because we have DEI, and, you know, most people can't even get hired anyway. But then if you jump through all of those hoops and you end up getting hired, then you have, you know, all of these rules you have to follow. You have someone micromanaging you every step of the way. You have all of these political campaigns going on at work. You know, you have to go to the company pizza party. You have to do these wagon races. You have to do all this, rah-rah horse shit, keeping your HR department and your bosses happy so they can take pictures and they can post on LinkedIn about what a wonderful place it is. And meanwhile, they really don't want to keep you because at the first sign of trouble, when the next round of college graduates comes out and they're going to take less money for the same work, they're just going to get rid of you. Whereas back in the day on the plantation, I know this is so controversial. Some people are going to just be like, this guy's nuts. But just think about it, all right? Like, just stick with me. You had your whole family living there with you. You had, you had meals. You got to eat. You had a beautiful place where you worked. You lived off the land. You grew crops. You maintained the gardens. Beautiful gardens. And you put in your work day, but then you come home and your whole family is there, your whole community is there, everybody lives together, and everybody shares in the blessings of togetherness and just eating and drinking and enjoying the time together. And that's bad compared to today. Think about how we live today. I mean, everything is moving toward people will live alone. People will not have families. People will be looking for the lowest common denominator as far as groceries they can afford, food they can afford, groceries, the cheapest available rental housing that they can find. And it's probably not in a good neighborhood. It might have sketchy people all around you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, is that are we self-actualizing in an environment like that? You go to work and your boss doesn't really care about you, Your coworkers don't care about you. You're just kind of, you're like a team for 8 hours and then you clock out and you all go your separate ways. It's almost like your ship's passing in the night, never to see each other again until the next work shift when we happen to be scheduled together. But there's no real relationships there. I don't know. I think life was better when we paid 10% tax and we had a community, managed all of the gardens and cultivated crops, and we grew a bountiful harvest, our family was there, everyone was together. I don't know, things used to be better in the United States, and the bigger we make this government, the worse things get. I don't think it's an evil thing to say, I'm sick and tired of the IRS, and I don't think that I should give the American government 50% of everything I make, especially considering all of the money that they're giving away, which comes from money we make. They take our taxes and they give it away. I think that a lot of people that lived during those old days lived a lot better life. And I mean, they didn't have the technology. They couldn't just drive around and talk to their audience in the truck back then. But they did have a community around them. Just think about during the crisis. You were locked in your house. You weren't allowed to take your dog out for a walk. You couldn't go see your mom in the hospital if she was sick. If your grandmother died, you couldn't go. It was illegal to basically have a funeral because it would have been outside and it would have been, people standing within 6 feet of one another. It would have been totally illegal. What do you guys think? Would you rather pay 10% tax and, live at the Magnolia Botanical Garden and Plantation in South Carolina? Or would you rather pay 50%, 55% tax and live in the dystopian American society we have today? You let me know in the comments section. We used to have a system in this country where it wasn't 100% transactional. We didn't treat people like serfs. You know, we didn't treat people like, you know, indentured servitude to the U.S. government. See, that's the problem in America. The federal government thinks that they own everything in this land, including every single human being. And it's just up to them to tell everybody the amount they have to pay. And it didn't used to be like that, but now it is. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this one in the comments section. I'll be interested to read your replies. But, you know, things might have been better back in the day, before we have this, you know, the situation we're in right now, where 1 out of 3 Americans are about to be evicted because they can't pay their mortgage or they can't pay their rent, where people are losing their incomes, where there's all sorts of uncertainty in the labor markets, where the consumer is running out of money quickly because of government inflation, because of all of the artificial stimulation that's been going on since 2020 and without end. And we still haven't really paid the piper for what we did to the economy in 2020. There could be more artificial stimulation. There could be more money printing. And this could go on for several more years, where we slowly slip into further and further into poverty, until one day there's actual civil unrest where people start fighting back against the government that's been ruining their lives for decades. But I just don't think that's going to happen. You know, I think a lot of people are really, they don't understand how we got here, and they're sure that it wasn't the government, because they know the government's like always trying to help them out, you know. Government's there for you. They're working hard. They're always, you know, coming up with new programs to do something, to stimulate, to make the economy better, whatever they say it is. And a lot of people just believe that. You know, they believe what they're told in the corporate media, and that's it. But, you know, for those of you who are awakened to what's really happening out here, you know, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and we can keep unpacking these stories. But yeah, that's enough. Been going for a while, but I hope you liked the video. Please hit the thumbs up for me, and please subscribe to the channel. And I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Danny Elliott.